Welcome to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Listen to gather mystical insights for an extraordinary life. Hello, my beloved friends. Welcome once again to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to speak to you about the idea of division. Yes, we all know that in mathematics there are several functions, and division is one of them. However, mathematics is the only place where Joshua likes to apply division. He is all into addition and multiplication and unity, putting it all together. So, I want to talk about the habit that some New Age practitioners have adopted that causes a artificial, if you will, separation in consciousness. The one consciousness that created all that is dwells equally in all that is, the formed and the formless, down to the most minute subatomic particle we might imagine, to the greatest and largest galaxy we might be aware of. The consciousness of all that is dwells equally in all of it, and it cannot be divided. So here's the thing. Here's where people start getting into division. They want to talk about something called higher self. If I have a higher self, that means I also have a lower self. Yes? That's just semantics of language. So they want to talk about higher consciousness, God consciousness, Christ consciousness. And then there's human consciousness. You see. Again, an artificial separation that does not exist within consciousness itself. Consciousness itself is whole and complete and cannot be divided. Just like the ocean on the earth that I've talked about. There's only one ocean on the earth. It cannot be divided into this bay and that sea and this strait, or even that ocean, the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian, and so forth. There's only one ocean here, and we draw imaginary boundaries on it, just like consciousness is ever present in all that is, in the imaginary space between the atoms. Consciousness exists. My first non-physical teacher, Seth, told me that, or wrote in his books, of course. Well, he didn't write them either. They were written by humans. However, he was channeled, and Seth taught me that what is underneath the tiniest quarks, the finest particles science has yet to find, is what he calls a consciousness unit. Consciousness unit. And that makes sense to me because, they haven't really figured out what is the energy that causes the atoms to spin. You know, is it electromagnetic? Is it uh, caused by gravity, gravitational force, centrifugal force? What makes the atoms spin? Consciousness units. That's what I think. So I believe this because I trust my teacher, Seth. Seth revealed to me many interesting parts of nature of reality that Joshua shares. And it's interesting to me to go back now and read some of my Seth books and realize Joshua teaches a lot of what Seth teaches, but he uses different language. So we will not engage to the best of our ability in the language of division. There is no such thing as a higher consciousness, God consciousness, spiritual consciousness that is not a part and whole with human consciousness. So, to be human is not to be less than conscious. To be human is not to be less than creator. Being human is not a separation from all that is an expression of all that is. I want to repeat that because I stumbled over my words. Being human is not separation from all that is. Being human is an expression of all that is. All that is dwelling in you as you. And this consciousness that we identify with, this conscious awareness that I refer to as me or I, is unique and yet inseparable from the one, inseparable from that which created us. So you see, you cannot divide consciousness. You can add to it. You can multiply it. Cannot be divided. It's like trying to divide zero. Zero cannot be divided. And yet all that is more than zero. It is to- total, totality. Anything you can think of and beyond. For there are things that exist in the totality of all that is that have yet not occurred to the mind of human. But that does not mean your consciousness is separate. It just means you haven't been swimming in that part of the pool. Now, I talked about a pool of mass consciousness in the past in other videos. And in those videos, I talked about portions of the pool of mass consciousness. And that is a rather crude definition of what it is I wanted to share with you, where I wanted you to recognize that there are places in the pool of mass consciousness that are chronically, constantly experiencing joy and bliss. Oh, bliss consciousness. That's not separate from us either. Bliss consciousness is always available to you in the pool. It's just a portion of the pool that we move into and out of during the course of a lifetime. For a lifetime is not intended or designed to be lived in constant bliss. And yet, some have made that their purpose. My purpose for existence is to live in constant bliss. So, if that is my purpose, I may pursue it with all of my creativity. Do whatever it takes to remain in constant bliss. I may retreat from society and I may retreat from vocational work and I might go dwell someplace where I can be in isolation because in isolation, it's a lot easier to sustain bliss, bliss consciousness. Because you see, it's easy to be an angel if no one ruffles your feathers. And perhaps that's why I love my solitude so very much. I managed to ruffle my own feathers. So I do not dwell in constant bliss, but I have had experiences of bliss that are imprinted upon my being so deeply that I believe I could return there in a matter of a few focused breaths. So air is like consciousness. You can't divide it. You can't say, this is the air in Jordan's apartment and nobody else gets to share it. No, that's not how it works. And this is not the air of the United States, so we can pollute it if we want to because nobody else gets to share it. Yeah, that's not true. There's one air here. There's one ocean here. And truly, when you realize that under the ocean is firmament, earth crust, there's only one land here. And we all share the land, the air, and the ocean, the water. I really have no idea how many different dimensions there are. But even though they are different, they are not separate. They overlap with one another. Now, the dimensions we are most familiar with while walking the human existence are this dimension, which we call reality, the 3D world that is ruled by time. There are two dimensions of reality that we are most familiar with while we're walking a human journey. Now, that is, of course, we call this dimension, this one we're in listening to Jordan talk, and this one we're in looking at our device. You see, we call that reality, the real world, but truly it is the three-dimensional dimension. It's the 3D dimension of reality. So we try to separate the 3D. We tell ourselves that there is height, width, and depth. And that's what creates three dimensions. And of course, in our three-dimensional world, we create things that are two-dimensional, like paper and TVs. But on the TVs, we think we're looking at three-dimensional world. Anyway, the point is that we are aware of our dimension of reality, and then the other dimension of reality we enter into daily is dream state, dream reality. Now, just because or if you don't remember your dreams doesn't mean you didn't enter dream state while you were sleeping in your bed. You did. You just didn't recall. That's all. So there's a big difference. Now, we'd like to divide. We want to make sure that this 3D dimension does not overlap with dream reality because the two are not the same. As a matter of fact, in this reality, if we've had a bad dream, we tell ourselves, what? It wasn't real. It's not real. Thank goodness it wasn't real. I've woken up from dreams totally frightened sometimes and tell myself the same thing. Oh, whoa, I'm safe. I'm here in my bed. I'm fine. What was just happening in that other dimension isn't real. However, Joshua tells me that is a misunderstanding. The dream dimension has different framework for its function. In order to function in the dream reality, we are not as fixed in our senses, so to speak, and we are able to use our mind to change things at the thought. You can turn a house into a boat with a thought. You can be in a location where you're surrounded by people and then all those people can disappear with a thought. And if you are conscious in your dream and you want to fly, you can do it with a thought. And flying, I think, is the most fun thing. So every time I wake up in a dream, I like to fly. Yeah. So sometimes I don't remember dreaming, but I know my dreams are real and they are really happening. And they are happening even while I am focused here in this dimension. And my dream consciousness sometimes overlaps with this dimension of reality. So, again, there cannot be division in the dimensions. I know that we speak of distinctions, differences. For each dimension of reality has its own framework that determines what can happen in that dimension. This dimension of reality has its own framework that sets rules for us, how we must operate in this dimension of reality. In other words, gravity. I didn't make it up. I didn't create it, right? So when I'm in this dimension of reality, I cannot feel like I just am flying because my body is subject to gravity. In my dreams, there's no gravity. Gravity is not a function that has to be applied to the dream state. And so I fly. And I giggle because I think it's so much fun. I like doing it. And yeah, I don't wake up in all of my dreams, but occasionally I'll wake up and think, hey, I could be flying. I'm dreaming. I could be flying. Well, we are truly still dreaming, even though we think we're awake right now and in this reality. And in my imagination, you bet I can fly. It is this physicalness, this density of energy that's moving so slowly that gravity can hold it, that keeps me from launching right off this sofa right now. So, my friends, I want to talk to you about dropping the habit of division when we come to talking about the whole self. Now, there are parts of the self that have distinctive roles, distinctive behaviors, and we've talked about the function of ego. We've talked about the absolute, ever present mind. There are lots of parts of whole self, and none are better than, or greater than, or lesser than any other part. All is equal. So when someone wants to talk to you about higher consciousness or Christ consciousness and God consciousness or whatever terms they want to put on a consciousness that somehow separates it from you or makes it seem so more divine than you, remember, we don't practice division, just addition. Yeah. So go ahead and add to yourself Christ consciousness, add to yourself divine consciousness, add to your whole self anything you can think of, for that is your true nature. I will conclude my comments and let Joshua speak to you now. Hello, beloved one. It is my honor. Yes, I do recognize myself as a being that experiences honor in speaking to you. And I also experience joy connecting to you. For you are the ones we are waiting for in regard to the mass awakening. You are the ones who will plant and water the seeds of the great awakening, the transition from fear-based reality into a golden age of peace, compassion, understanding, and an abundance of everything for everyone. A time of living in total unity, total unity. And that goes beyond just uniting humankind. Humankind live in symbiosis with the earth, with every plant, every animal, all the water, all the air, all the earth, all the land. Humankind will have a symbiotic relationship. What I mean by that is one feeds the other. Yes? One feeds the other. Sometimes humans have acted like parasites rather than nurturers upon the earth. Parasites will take your energy and not return it. So, humankind, you are not parasites upon this planet. No. This planet provides all that you need for life. And in return for her gift to you, the gift of life she gives you, we ask that you return that energy with love and attention, giving the earth its needed love and respect and attention. Actually become a planetary steward. We speak of this in our writings. It is an important part of all that you are. The earth and I are one. And as I cleanse and detox my body, I cleanse and detox the earth. There is no separation. So thank you. Thank you so much. Those of you who pay attention to managing the toxins that come into and flow out of your body. Of course, toxins will come into your body through the air, through the water, through other sources. They come into your body through the foods you consume. And your body has its own processing system to remove toxins from your blood, from your oxygen, from your foods. And then it processes out of the body what it cannot use, including those toxins. Through your waste disposal system, you move toxins out of your body. So those of you who pay a great deal of attention to the purity of your physical existence, thank you for contributing to the purity of the earth. And there are other ways to contribute to removing toxins and making a smaller carbon footprint, if you will, on this beautiful planet. Walk gently here, and she will sustain you with abundance for all. I also wanted to mention that although I do not take form physically in the earth dimension, I am able to be very close. As you see, I am able to use this body to form words and move appendages, and yet I do not have a body. I am formless, ageless, timeless. And truly so are you. However, at this time, being succinct about the moment, you have chosen a body and you have chosen a geography and a time frame in which to experience a life. And the purpose of life is as vast and varied as there are humans upon the planet. You are all here for your own purpose. You are all here on your own mission. And I want to remind you, you will fulfill that purpose and that mission. You cannot avoid it. It is a part of your destiny. So, even if you are not cognitively aware of what your purpose is, some people are still going about wondering, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Even if you are not consciously aware of that purpose, and even if it does not occur to you, you will fulfill it. It will be done. It is your destiny. And while you're going about fulfilling your destiny, you enjoy your free will of moment to moment choices on what to do, how to behave, and what it is that matters to you in the moment. I will conclude my comments for now, and I want to remind you in my own special way, since I have not said it to you for some time. Let the light grow, let love show, and let your life be fun. I love you, and I bid you good day. Thank you for listening. We hope you heard something to ponder and gained inspiration for your journey. Please join us again next time. Joshua says, let the light grow, let love show, and let your life be fun.